Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giriraja Gopi Jana Vallabha Giriraja Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giriraja Gopi Jana Vallabha Giriraja Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Brahmachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Pariprajakacharya Stotra Sutta Sri Srimadbhagavatam Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Pariprajakacharya Stotra Sutta Sri Srimadbhakti Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So is it chapter 8, text 1? Oh, okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 We read from SrimadBhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 8. Dhruva Maharaj leaves home. Text 3. Tayo Samabhavat lobha,
lobha,
nikriti,
nikriti,
cha,
cha,
mahamate,
mahamate,
tabyam,
tabyam,
krodha,
krodha,
cha,
cha,
himsa,
himsa,
cha,
cha,
yat,
yat,
turukti,
suruti,
swasa,
sasa,
kali,
kali,
tayo sambhavalobo,
tayo sambhavalopo,
nikristischa mahamate,
nikritisha mahamate,
tabyam krodascha himsacha,
tabyam krodascha himsacha,
yadurukti sakali,
yadurukti svasakali,
tayo samabhavalobo,
tayo sambhavalopo,
nikritischa mahamate,
nikritisha mahamate,
tabyam krodascha himsacha,
tabyam krodascha himsacha,
yadurukti swasakali,
yadurukti svasakali,
tayo sambhavalobo, tayo samabhavalobo,
tayo samabhavalopo,
nikritischa mahamate,
nikritischa mahamate,
tabyam krodascha himsacha,
tabyam krodascha himsacha,
yadurukti swasakali,
yadurukti svasakali,
tayo samabhavalobo,
tayo samabhavalopo,
nikritischa mahamate,
nikritischa mahamate,
tabyam krodascha himsacha,
tabyam krodascha himsacha,
yadurukti swasakali,
yadurukti svasakali, tayo samabhavalopo, nikritischa mahamate, tabyam krodascha himsacha, yadurukti svasakali, tayo samabhavalopo, nikritischa mahamate, tabyam krodascha himsacha, yadurukti svasakali, tayo samabhavalopo, nikritischa mahamate, tabyam krodascha himsacha, yadurukti svasakali, tayo samabhavalopo, nikritischa mahamate, tabyam krodascha himsacha, yadurukti svasakali.
Vaishnavis.
Tayo samabhavalopo, nikritischa mahamate, tabyam krodascha himsacha, yadurukti svasakali, tayo samabhavalopo, nikritischa mahamate, tabyam krodascha himsacha, yadurukti svasakali,
Tayo,
tayo,
these two,
these two,
samabhavat,
samabhavat,
were born.
were born,
Lobha,
lobha,
greed.
greed,
Nikriti,
nikriti,
cunning.
cunning,
Cha,
cha,
and
and
Mahamate,
mahamate,
O great soul.
O great
Tabhyam,
Tavyam,
from both of them.
from both of them.
Krodha,
Krodha,
anger.
anger.
Cha,
Cha,
and.
and.
Hingsa,
Himsa,
envy.
envy.
Cha,
Cha,
and.
and.
Yat,
Yat,
from both of whom.
from both of whom.
Durukti,
Durukti,
harsh speech.
harsh speech.
Swasa,
Sa,
sister.
sister.
Kali,
Kali,
Kali.
Kali.
Translation. Maitreya told Vidura, O great soul, from Damba and Maya were born greed and Nikriti, or cunning. From their combination came children named Krodha, anger, and Himsa, envy. And from their combination were born Kali and his sister Durukti, harsh speech. Please repeat. Maitreya told Vidura,
Maitreya told Vidura,
O great soul,
O great soul,
from Damba and Maya
from Damba and Maya
were born greed and Nikriti,
were born greed and Nikriti,
or cunning.
or cunning.
From their combination came children named Krodha, anger,
Anger
and Himsa,
and Himsa,
envy.
and envy.
And from their combination were born Kali
And from their combination were born Kali
and his sister Durukti,
and his sister Durukti,
harsh speech.
harsh speech.
There's no purport, so we'll continue to the next verse. Durukto kalir adatta bayam rityum chasatama tayos chamitunam jagye yatana nirayas tata. Durukto, in Durukti,
In Durukti,
Kali,
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 Adatta,
Adata,
produced,
produced,
Bhayam,
Bhayam,
fearfulness,
fearfulness,
Mrityum,
Mrityum,
death,
death,
Cha,
Cha,
and
and
Sattama,
Sattama,
O greatest of all good men,
O greatest of all good men,
Tayo,
Tayo,
of those two,
of those two,
Cha,
Cha,
and
and
Mitunam,
Mitunam,
by combination,
by combination,
Jagye,
Jagye,
were produced,
were produced,
Yatana,
Yatana,
excessive pain,
excessive pain,
Niraya,
Niraya,
hell,
hell,
Tata,
Tata,
as well.
as well.
Translation. O greatest of all good men, by the combination of Kali and harsh speech, were born children named Mrityu, death, and Biti, fear. From the combination of Mrityu and Biti came children named Yatana, excessive pain, and Niraya, hell. There's no purport, so we'll continue to the next verse. Sangrahena maya kyata pratisargas tavanaga Trishutaiv tat puman punyam vidunotyat manomalam sagrahena.
Sagrahena,
In summary,
in summary,
maya,
Maya,
by me,
by me,
akyata, is explained. Pratisargaha, cause of devastation. Tava, your. Anaga, O pure one. Three times. Shrutva, having heard. Etat, this. Description. Puman, one who. Punyam, piety. Vidunoti, washes off. Atmana, of the soul. Malam, contamination. Translation. My dear Vidura, I have summarily explained the causes of devastation. One who hears this description 3 times attains piety and washes the sinful contamination from his soul. Please repeat. My dear Vidura, I have summarily explained the causes of devastation. One who hears this description 3 times attains piety and washes the sinful contamination from his soul. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The creation takes place on the basis of goodness, but devastation takes place because of irreligion. That is the way of material creation and devastation. Here it is stated that the cause of devastation is adharma, or irreligion. The descendants of irreligion and falsity, born one after another, are bluffing, cheating, greed, cunning, anger, envy, quarrel, harsh speech, death, fear, severe pain, and hell. All these descendants are described as signs of devastation. If a person is pious and hears about these causes of devastation, he will feel hatred for all these, and that will cause his advancement in a life of piety. Piety refers to the process of cleansing the heart. As recommended by Lord Chaitanya, one has to cleanse the dust from the mirror of the mind, and then advancement on the path of liberation begins. Here also the same process is recommended. Malam means contamination. We should learn to despise all the causes of devastation, beginning from irreligion and cheating, and then we shall be able to make advancement in a life of piety. The possibility of our attaining Krishna consciousness will be easier, and we shall not be subjected to repeated devastation. The present life is repeated birth and death, but if we seek the path of liberation, we may be saved from repeated suffering. Translation again. O Vidura, I have summarily explained the causes of devastation. One who hears this description 3 times attains piety and washes the sinful contamination from his soul. It's very interesting in these purports. Srila Prabhupada says that we should hate these causes of impiety or causes of devastation. There is a type of pseudo-oneness in which a person, tries to love everyone and everything and not pass judgments on anybody or anything. Of course, there is truth to the idea that we should not judge others, in the sense that we should not judge them unworthy of Krishna consciousness. Because Krishna consciousness is good for everyone and meant for everyone. As stated in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Anya vilasita sunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena Krishna anushilanam bhaktir uttama. So, jnana karmadi anavritam means not covered by karma or jnana. And whatever body and mind a person has is a result of his or her karma. So jnana karmadi anavritam means that bhakti cannot be, one cannot be disqualified from bhakti based on his or her karma. So in that sense, we should not judge others because whoever they are eligible for pure devotional service, and our mission in life, following Srila Prabhupada and the Panchatattva, is to bring others to Krishna consciousness. So in that way we don't judge them. But still, we must distinguish, and as Srila Prabhupada says, actually hate these impediments to the progress of the individual and the progress of the world. Because they are enemies. And that they will not help us. Rather, they will harm us. Now, one problem with the materialistic society, especially at the present time, in Kali Yuga, is that people embrace irreligion, falsity, bluffing, cheating, greed, cunning, anger, envy, quarrel, harsh speech, and hell. So if we, following Srila Prabhupada and srimadbhagavatam, oppose these things, we will find that we are in a minority. And, Kali Yuga is so bad and association is so powerful that we need the association of pious people. And And therefore Srila Prabhupada said he formed the International Society for Krishna Consciousness to give people the association of devotees, to give the members of the society association with devotees, and to give new people the association of devotees so they can also become devotees. And so there's strength in that association. It was mentioned earlier, because we were discussing different offspring of Brahma, and one of them is Narada. And yes, in the purport to text 2, Srila Prabhupada writes, regarding Narada, it is understood that because his previous life was very pious and his association very good, he was born as Narada. Others were also born in their own capacities according to their backgrounds. The law of karma continues birth after birth, and when there is a new creation, the same karma comes back with the living entity. They are born in different capacities according to karma, even though their father is originally Brahma, who is the exalted qualitative incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So regarding Narada, in his previous life he was very pious and his association very good, and thus he was born as Narada. So we want to develop, and the two go together, we want to develop piety and we want to keep good association, and then we'll be saved from this devastation. So, what is good association? What is bad association? So Chaitanya Charitamrita states, Sadhu Sangha Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastrakai, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhihai. That by associating with a sadhu, or a devotee, a pure devotee, Sadhu Sangha Sarva Sadhu Sangha, by repeating Sadhu Sangha. And in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami gives a definition of Sadhu Sangha. In this context, sadhu means svajati ashaye snigdi, sadhu sangha svatobare. Sajati means of this, literally it means of the same caste or community, but in general terms we could say like-minded. Svajati ashaye snigdi, and affectionate. To get the benefit of the association of a sadhu, the sadhu should be affectionate to us. Of course, sadhus are by nature compassionate, but we can win the affection of the sadhu by submissive service and oral reception. It's like Narada Muni, he was he came from a very humble background. He was the son of a maid-servant who was serving sadhus, Bhaktivedantas. And being a young boy, and, in the presence of the sadhus and in the service of his mother, he would also serve the sadhus, and he became an object of their affection. And because of their affection, he made unknowing spiritual advancement to the point that he became the great sage Narada, the spiritual master of practically the whole disciplic succession. So we want to engage in pious activities, and we want to stay in good association, because even someone who's pious can fall down in bad association. And one example is Ajamil. Ajamil was born in a good Brahmin family. He was educated in the Brahminical principles. But once, when he was outside the house, he saw a low-class man and woman embracing. And seeing that ungodly display, he became agitated, and he wanted to have union with the prostitute. And he got so carried away that he gave up his pious wife, Brahmani, and all his religious principles, and he married the prostitute. And to satisfy her, engaged in all sorts of sinful activities. So he was pious, but he fell into bad company. But even then, he was saved at the end. Many of you know the story, and I also spoke about it Friday night. But at the end, at the time of death, the Yamadutas came to snatch his soul from the body and take him to Yamaraj for judgment. And Ajamil had a young son named Narayan. He was very attached to Narayan. And Narayan was playing nearby when the Yamadutas came. And Ajamil was so horrified and terrified and panic-stricken. And he felt so helpless, he just called for his son, Narayan. And when he called the holy name of Narayan, although he was referring to his son, the agents of Narayan came, the Vishnu Dutas, and they intervened and said to the Yamadutas, halt, you have no jurisdiction over this soul. And they said, we do. He's very sinful, and we have jurisdiction over all sinful souls, and we're going to take him to Yamaraj for punishment. And they said, no, he chanted the holy name of Narayan, and because of that, he was freed from, sinful reactions, and the necessity of facing hellish punishment. So there's a long discussion, but the result is that because of chanting the holy name of Narayan, even though he was addressing his son, he was spared death. He was allowed to continue in that body. And having heard the discourse of the Vishnu Dutas, the discussion of the Vishnu Dutas with the Yama Dutas, he became purified. He became enlightened in spiritual knowledge. And he left his wife, to whom he was so attached. He even left his son Narayan, to whom he was so attached. And he went to the holy town of Haridwar, and he engaged in devotional service there. Now, in the science of chanting, there are 3 stages. One is called Nam Aparad, that's offensive chanting. One is Nam Abbas, which is it means like a glimpse of pure chanting. And then there's Shuddhanam, which is pure chanting. So Ajamil, calling the name of Narayan at the time of death, was Nam Abbas. It wasn't offensive. For example, to commit sin on the strength of chanting is offensive. If you think, well, by chanting I can become free from sinful reactions, so I'll just engage in sinful reactions and then I'll chant to counteract the reaction. So that's an offense. But that wasn't Ajamil's mentality. His mentality was, he was just helpless. He was just calling out the name of Narayan. It wasn't pure chanting, but it was Namabas. And as a result of Namabas, he was liberated from sinful reactions and freed from hellish punishment. So, yeah, he went to Haridwar. He engaged in the process of bhakti yoga, and in the end, his chanting became pure, became perfect. He developed prema, love for Krishna, and then the same Vishnu Dutas who he had seen earlier came with a Vaikuntha airplane to take him back home, back to God. So, even if our chanting is not pure, and nobody's chanting is pure in the beginning, we should keep chanting. And that will help us to become pure. Srila Prabhupada sometimes quoted a cartoon that he had seen. An old man and his wife were sitting together, and the wife was saying, chant, chant, chant. And the old man was saying, can't, can't, can't. And with the same effort that it took him to say can't, 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 he could have chanted. But that's a sort of like a causeless unwillingness of the conditioned soul, envious soul. But if we chant, then we'll get the result. It's mentioned that the remedy for offensive chanting is just continued chanting. And that chanting, Cheto Darpano Marjana, that cleanses the dirty things from the heart. All these things that we've read about, they're cleansed by chanting. And we make spiritual advancement and ultimately come to the perfect stage. So it mentions here, one who hears this description 3 times attains piety and washes the sinful contamination from his soul. So I suggest that right here and now, we hear this 3 times and get get this tremendous benefit. We will take it that this description begins with text 1, which we didn't read. We began with text 3. But so we'll read the Sanskrit and the English. I was concerned because you won't have it in front of you, but it says one who hears this. So you just have to hear, which isn't always that easy because our minds wander. You know, I might be, who knows, my mind might be wandering too, but at least we hope that while I'm reading this, I'll be attentive, and I hope you will be too. So please listen carefully. Maitreya uvacha sanakadya naradascha ribur hamso runiryati naiti grihan brahmasuta yavasan urdvaretasa. The great sage Maitreya said, the 4 great Kumara sages headed by Sanaka, as well as Narada, Ribu, Hamsa, Aruni, and Yati, all sons of Brahma, did not live at home, but became Urdvareta, or Naishtika brahmacharis, unadulterated celibates. Mrishadharmasya bharya sid dambhamayam chasatruhan asuta mitunam tatu niritir jagrahe praja. Another son of Lord Brahma was irreligion, whose wife's name was falsity. From their combination were born 2 demons named Damba, or bluffing, and Maya, or cheating. These 2 demons were taken by a demon named Niriti, who had no children. Tayor samabhava lobo nikritischa mahamate tabyam krodascha himsa cha yadurukti swasakali. Maitreya told Vidura, O great soul, from Damba and Maya were born greed and Nikriti, or cunning. From their combination came children named Krodha, anger, and Himsa, envy. And from their combination were born Kali and his sister Durukti, harsh speech. O greatest of all good men, by the combination of Kali and harsh speech were born children named Mrityu, death, and Bhiti, fear. From the combination of Mrityu and Bhiti came children named Yatana, excessive pain, and Niraya, hell. Sangrahena maya dyakta pratisargas tavanaga trishut vaitat pumam punyam vidunot yat manomalam. My dear Vidura, I have summarily explained the causes of devastation. One who hears this description 3 times attains piety and washes the sinful contamination from his soul. Okay. Huh? This is the first time because when we were having the class, we didn't start from the beginning. Yeah. I mean, this is a great benediction. Sorry? Oh, he's like the Yagya referee. Wow, that's very good. All right. Durukto kalir adata bayam rityum chasatama trayos tramitunam jagje yatana nirayas tata. I read the translation. Yeah. Okay. All right, so we've caught up. Well, why don't you read the next set?
Okay, I can do it. Where's my... Okay, text one. Maitreya uvacha sanakardyanadadascha riburhangso hrunir yatihi naite grahan brahmasutta yavasan urvaretasaha. The great sage Maitreya said, the four great Kumara sages headed by Sanaka, as well as Narada, Ribhu, Hangsa, Aruni, and Yati, all sons of Brahma, did not live at home, but became Urdhvareta, or Naishtika brahmacharis, unadulterated celibates. 2. Mishadharmasya bharyasid dambham mayam cha shatruhan asuta matanam tattu niritir jagrahe pajaha. Another son of Lord Brahma was irreligion, whose wife's name was falsity. From their combination were born two demons named Dambha, or bluffing, and Maya, or cheating. These two demons were taken by a demon named Niriti, who had no children. 3. Tayo samabhavallobho nikutis chamahamate tabhyam krodhasta hingsacha yandurukti swasakalihi. Maitreya told Vidura, O great soul, from Dambha and Maya were born greed and Nikriti, or cunning. From their combination came children named Krodha, anger, and Hingsa, envy. And from their combination were born Kali and his sister Durukti, harsh speech. 4. Duruktau karodadatta bhayam rityum cha sattama tayoscha matanam jaghe yatanan hridayastata. O greatest of all good men, by the combination of Kali and harsh speech were born children named Mrityu, death, and Bhiti, fear. From the combination of Mrityu and Bhiti came children named Yatana, excessive pain, and Nirya, hell. 5. Sangahena maya kyata pratisargastavanaga 3 Shudvaitat puman punyam vidunot yatmanomalam. My dear Vidura, I have summarily explained the causes of devastation. One who hears this description 3 times attains piety and washes the sinful contamination from his soul.
Okay, one more time. I can hardly wait. 1. Maitreya uvacha sanakadya naradascha ribur hamso runir yatai naite grinhan brahmasutta yavasan urdhvaretasa. The great sage Maitreya said, the 4 great Kumara sages headed by Sanaka, as well as Narada, Ribhu, Hangsa, Aruni, and Yati, all sons of Brahma, did not live at home, but became Urdhvareta, or Naistika brahmacharis, unadulterated celibates. 2. Mishadharmasya bharyasid dambam mayam chashatruhan asuta mitunam tattu niritir jagrahe praja. Another son of Lord Brahma was irreligion, whose wife's name was falsity. From their combination were born 2 demons named Damba, or bluffing, and Maya, or cheating. These 2 demons were taken by a demon named Niriti, who had no children. 3. Tayo samabhalobo nikritischa mahamate, tavyam krodascha himsa cha, yadurukti swasakali. Maitreya told Vidura, O great soul, from Damba and Maya were born greed and Nikriti, or cunning. From their combination came children named Krodha, anger, and Himsa, envy. And from their combination were born Kali and his sister Durukti, harsh speech. 4. Durukto kalir adata, bayam rityum chasatama, tayos chamitunam jajye yatana nirayastata. O greatest of all good men, by the combination of Kali and harsh speech were born children named Mrityu, death, and Biti, fear. From the combination of Mrityu and Biti came children named Yatana, excessive pain, and Niraya, hell. 5. Sangrahena maya kyata pratisargas tavanaga tri shut vaitat puman punyam vidunot yat mano malam. My dear Vidura, I have summarily explained the causes of devastation. One who hears this description 3 times attains piety and washes the sinful contamination from his soul. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantharaj srimadbhagavatam ki jai. So my dear pious and sinless devotees, I am honored to be in your presence. And I just want to say a few words about repetition. In the early days, our God Sister Jadharani read or heard from Srila Prabhupada that the moon is born from the ocean of milk. And she couldn't understand it. She asked, what does that mean? The moon is churned from the ocean of milk. So Srila Prabhupada replied, just repeat. The moon is churned from the ocean of milk. So he had her, you can repeat it. So he had her repeat it 3 times. And then he said, now do you understand? And she said, yes. The moon is churned from the ocean of milk. And in a somewhat similar vein, when the Nectar of Devotion book first came out, some parts of it are quite advanced. And so the devotees asked Srila Prabhupada what should they do if they don't understand something. And Srila Prabhupada replied that they should just read it again and again. So there's a benefit to repetition. Things sink in. And as Srila Prabhupada said, it's not enough that we say that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in one purport, but we will say that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in every purport. I mean, from a literary point of view, repetition is generally not considered good style, but repetition does have its place. And especially repeating srimadbhagavatam, repeating the holy name and repeating the glories of the Lord and his devotees. Hare Krishna. So are there any questions or comments? Yes.
I was very happy to be with you. There was numerous things like that. I mean, every morning we do the culture system, and we walk around 9 times plus hundred. And I was doing that this year, or pop up on sin doing that day. That on Kachi, in other words, there are all kinds of things like that. And it's very chanting of the holy name that we do. So, what's the point of it? Something like this. In other words, it's great that we have these 5 verses. But suppose I wasn't able to read that, so I never got to that part of the Bible now. Will I still be able to be through it if I didn't want to do it?
Well, we can use all the help that we can get. And so the more we do to become pious and free from sin, the better it is. Because we've likely been accumulating sins for many lifetimes. So it's a continuous effort. And in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami discusses sin. Of course, one of the 6 characteristics of pure devotional service in general is kleshagani, which means it destroys miseries, which are caused by sin. And he analyzes the different, you could say, phases of sin or stages. There's like the bija, which is like the seed or the sinful idea, and there's kuta, and there's immature and matured. And he says that all of these different phases are eradicated by bhakti yoga, by pure devotional service. But commentators such as Srila Jiva Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur have discussed the order in which this eradication takes place, kleshagni. But the conclusion is that, that we need all the help we can get, and we should engage in as many of the activities of devotional service as possible. But even then, some items are more important than others, some are more potent than others, and so we would give preference to those. Like after enumerating the 64 items of devotional service, Rupa Goswami says that 5 are especially potent, and that even with a slight association with any one of them, one can become perfect. So those are there's like a summary of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in the Chaitanya Charitamrita in Madhya 22 and 23. And there, in the Bengali, Krishnadas Kaviraj mentions those 5. Sadhu Sangha, that's one of the 5. sadhu sangha, nama kirtana, chanting the holy name, bhagawatsaptaha, hearing srimadbhagavatam, murti sharanvita sevana, serving the deity with awe and veneration, and Mathuravasa, residing in a holy place like Mathura, or a temple where the deity of Vishnu is installed. So those are the 5 most potent. So yeah, we give priority to those, and Srila Prabhupada has built that into our program in ISKCON. But, we can and should do as many as possible, but sometimes we can't do everything, and so we should know what is more important and what is less important, and then choose the more important ones. Like, there was a young man who joined our group when we were traveling in India, quite early on, before we even had our properties, in Mayapur, Vrindavan, and at Bombay. And this young man is very unusual, because back then, not that many people from the West went to India. And he came, I think it was from America. And somehow he met up with our party, and he started to travel with us. And in a way, he was quite humble. We would eat very simply then, and we just sit down on the floor, on the ground, and eat off of leaf plates. And he would say, Krishna is very kind, he's feeding even me, I'm such a lowly creature, he's feeding me. So, coming to this point of priority, that sometimes we have to prioritize one activity or another. So this young man asked Srila Prabhupada that suppose it's late and I still have rounds to chant, and someone comes who could become a life member. Is it more important to finish my rounds or to make him a life member? And of course there's an assumption in the question, which is that which of the two? I mean, one could conceivably do both, but anyway, hypothetically, which one? So, yes, and then he asked, it was sort of in the same vein, that why do we have to chant 16 rounds? It was sort of like his purport to his own question. If all service is absolute, then why do we have to chant 16 rounds? So Srila Prabhupada replied, he gave different arguments, and it's, there's very significant purport in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. The verse is about, always remembering Krishna, never forgetting him. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that in order to always remember Krishna and never forget him, we must chant a minimum 16 rounds every day. And of all the instructions of the spiritual master, the instruction to chant a minimum of 16 rounds is most essential. So he was saying, okay, make a life member, finish my rounds. If all service is absolute, why do we have to chant 16 rounds? And Srila Prabhupada was explaining, and at a certain point, and he didn't often do this, but at a certain point, Srila Prabhupada just really asserted his authority. without any further discussion. Of course, there was prior discussion. And he sort of sat up very erect and he said, "Why do you have to chant 16 rounds?" "Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead wants you to chant 16 rounds. And then to emphasize the importance of the 16 rounds, Srila Prabhupada said, "You're so concerned about sleeping." Because that was the implication, if I have to choose between finishing my rounds or making a life member, which should I do? But you could do both. You just have to stay up later. So Srila Prabhupada said, if you are so attached to sleeping, you can eat and sleep all day long, but you must chant 16 rounds. And then Srila Prabhupada said to all the other devotees, "This is a special prerogative for him. This is not for you." So, yeah. Okay. And any other questions or comments? Yes, that's true. That's true. I mean, ordinarily, the two go together, envy and violence, but not necessarily. Vajravita Prabhu?
Yeah, when you see somebody who is envy or envious, you have to ask yourself, there's often a added meaning there. And this goes back to the Oxford English Dictionary, which many brothers don't realize is sometimes part of the source of the meaning of the word we use.
Hare Krishna. So, to be envious, Prabhupada often uses it to mean to bear malice toward. Meaning that, like if you see, I think in the Krishna book or somewhere, it says we should not be envious even of an ant. And so, how am I envious of an ant? There's nothing the ant has that I want. But that's not what he means. He means we should be careful not to, we shouldn't be neglectful and just kill the ant by, Now,
when you get to the malice, bearing malice, it's much closer to the violence, because that's kind of what precedes doing violence to others. So I think that in this case, that's probably what it is. Because you all know ahimsa means nonviolence, and that appears several times in the Bhagavad Gita. But himsa means kind of what precedes violence, which is this sense of malice and malevolence toward others. That's what this himsa is. I can research it a little more. A couple of other words, just devotees who read, Prabhupada's books, and they may come across a word that kind of causes them to think. The word sufficient and sufficiently. This is an interesting case because most of the time it just means what we always know, is that it's enough. Enough. But you'll find things like Nanda Maharaj sufficiently remunerated the Brahmin priests who performed the birth ceremony for Krishna. Well, that he just gave them enough so they wouldn't complain? No, sufficiently there is the second meaning, which means abundantly, profusely. Mm-hmm. And many times the sufficient rain doesn't mean it's just enough, for farming. It means there's plenty of rain, profuse rain. So watch for that one. Another one is flavor, which I think is still, you find it. Prabhupada used flavor often to mean fragrance. Mm. And I'll tell you a little story about in Krishna book. Because in Krishna book came out, everyone was reading, and we get to the chapter, I think it was 59 in the original Krishna book. Prabhupada merged, not Prabhupada, the editors merged two chapters. And so we only got 89 chapters in that first Krishna book. And anyway, that's another story. But so the talks between Rukmini and Krishna. So it gets to the point where Rukmini is, responding, and she has her whole soliloquy there. And she says something like this, that any woman who has not tasted the flavor of your lotus feet will have to accept a husband who's just a bag full of bones and blood and feces and like that. It's really heavy, And so the devotee says, far out. Rukmini and the queens must be tasting Krishna's lotus feet. There's a flavor there, a unique spiritual flavor. I mean, who knows? That's what I thought. But no, Prabhupada used flavor to mean fragrance, and tasting there means relishing. This was obvious when we went through the actual 10th canon. In Gandha, the word is Gandha, it's fragrance. So that comes up periodically. You find it in the Gita. We finally made them all fragrance so that it wouldn't be confusing. So this is sometimes, there's a few words like that, there's a few others if you're interested. And so envy is one of them, envious. And I think that's what happened with Himsa here.
I'm interested in the others. I think everyone is.
I may not be able to, I'll have to.
You have to. Okay. Yes.
Oh.
Oh, we had a god brother, I say had because he passed on, named Urjaswat. He was black-bodied. And after a good meal, he would always say, "We have dined sufficiently," which meaning abundantly. Yeah. It was very cute the way he would say that.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the nice class. So, towards the end, you're mentioning these 5 processes by which sin can be eradicated. That was serving the deity and living in a holy place and hearing bhagavatam, etc. At the end of the Gita, Krishna says, just surrender unto me and I will deliver you from all sinful reaction. So, I was curious as to why Krishna says he would deliver us from the sinful reaction rather than the sin itself. And relating that back to these 5 items, is the eradication of sin more of our endeavor through these 5 items, or if not, why does Krishna say, "I will deliver you from sinful reactions" rather than the sin itself?
Well, in Srila Rupa Goswami's discussion of sin, and what we discuss, bija, kutaha, phal, what is mature? Phal. Yeah, prabdhana. So the desire or the tendency to commit sin is also a sinful reaction. So when you surrender to Krishna and become free from sinful reactions, that includes the desire to sin, which is really important. And yeah, surrender means, engaging in bhakti yoga. And so that's part of the beneficial effects of engaging in bhakti yoga, that all the different phases of sin are eradicated. Sure.
5 that you mentioned, I just looked it up, the 128, associating with devotees, chanting the holy name of the Lord, hearing bhagavatam, association of devotees, residing at mature or other holy place, and worshiping the deity with faith and veneration, then the benefits are given in the next verse. But it's not eradication of sins. Beyond that, these 5 limbs of devotional service are the best of all. Even a slight performance of these 5 awakens love for Krishna. So that's that distinction between getting rid of sin and getting love for Krishna.
Yeah. Yes, Narottam?
In the purport to the 5th verse, it was saying that creation is based on goodness, but you understand that creation is in the mode of passion and maintenance is in the mode of goodness.
Yeah, I noticed that. But would you say that Lord Brahma is in the mode of passion?
Oh, Shiva is also not in the mode of ignorance, that he's in charge.
Yeah, that's the point.
So Brahma is
That's
also
the point.
in charge.
So even though Brahma is in charge of the mode of passion, and he's the creator, it doesn't mean he's in the mode of passion.
My question is that it's saying that creation is based on the mode of goodness, as it says there.
Yeah, creation takes place on the basis of goodness. Well, I think this is, and you read the rest of it, but devastation takes place because of irreligion.
Say that the passionate activities of Kshatriyas, who are supposed to be in the mode of passion, but their passionate activities have a basis in goodness also. It's to preserve the society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Brahma's creating the universe as an act of passion, but the basis is goodness.
Okay. So today is Srila Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj's disappearance day. We'll be having Pushpanjali at a meeting at 9:45. Okay. And fasting until noon. Ekadasi, generally, try to chant extra rounds, plus Kartik. So, I will be staying in the temple and chanting japa, and anyone who wants to can stay, come and go. Grantharaj srimadbhagavatam ki jai. Pious and sinless devotees ki jai. Hare Krishna. Yes, yes, yes. Give him the mic.
Introduction to the Ishtopanishad. The Prabhupada talks about the purpose of the Vedas. And I always wondered about that. I mean, that makes sense. What is the purpose of the Vedas? But really in the context, it seemed like he was talking about the purport of the Vedas, the meaning of the Vedas. And sure enough, you go to the Oxford English and the word purpose can you go down the list and it's purport, meaning is there, believe it or not.
Wow.
So usually this purpose can mean purport, but rarely does purport mean purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you find that in, 24, where Lord Chaitanya's Madhya 24 is explaining the Atmarama verse. So it started to come up, the purport of this word and that word, because it gives the meaning, I said, wait a minute, the purport of the purpose of this word. And I said, okay, it's purport. And so that you have to watch that sometimes, that they're interchangeably used. Be careful. Hare
Hare Krishna.